Uganda's government is facing criticism after imposing new restrictions on the importation of Starlink satellite internet equipment just weeks before the country heads to the polls in January. Critics and civil society groups have threatened to go to court to challenge the restriction, saying the timing of the move and the decision to place approval powers in the hands of the military has fueled suspicions of political interference in access to information. Now, news of the restrictions emerged through a leaked memo dated December the 19th. In it, Uganda Revenue Authority instructed customs officials that any Starlink equipment entering the country must now be cleared by the head of the military, who is also the son of President Yoweri Museveni. Uganda has a history of limiting online access around elections. Social media platforms were blocked during the last polls, with the government arguing that the measures were necessary to maintain public order and national security. Starlink, the satellite internet service owned by billionaire Elon Musk, does not currently have a license to operate in Uganda. Now, President Museveni has ruled Uganda since 1986 and is seeking to extend his time in office to nearly 50 years in next year's election and has repeatedly defended control of digital spaces. Well, earlier on, I spoke to Sarah Biretta, the Executive Director of the Civil Society Group Center for Constitutional Governance, and I asked her what she made of these new restrictions.
In the previous two cycles of elections, Uganda government has been shutting down internet, making sure that there is no transparency in elections. So when people use satellite internet like Starlink, it is difficult for government to shut down satellite internet. So the government has started the process of shutting down or controlling usage of internet 3 weeks ahead of elections.
But what's been the government's main response or main reason for restricting the importation of Starlink? Have they been able to give out a good reason as to why they're restricting it?
The communication from the revenue company, Uganda Revenue Authority, says that whoever wants to import these gadgets must have clearance of the Chief of Defense Forces, who is the president's son. I have no reason to think that there is any other reason other than the control of usage of internet during elections that has happened twice. Even when the High Court in Uganda has ruled that it is illegal for the government to shut down internet, which is recognized as a human right by the UN.
What about those who managed to import these devices before the restriction was put in place? Did the government make any announcement on whether they're going to track down these people?
We are yet to see further communication on the people using this internet. It's important to note that many Ugandans, especially in urban centers, are connected to Starlink internet in Uganda, even when it's not officially registered as a Ugandan operator.
What are people saying in regards to this move by the government, and whether do they think that the next year's election will be free and fair?
As civil society organizations working on elections and human rights, we were anticipating a control or shutdown of internet. It's also important to note that Facebook has been closed in Uganda for 5 years now, and it is still closed, only accessible through use of VPN. So when you add on the closure of Facebook, which also resulted from contestations in the previous elections, it's not far-fetched to know that the control of Starlink gadgets is related to elections. As observers, we had built scenarios for elections, and one of the expected happenings is a shutdown of internet. And we are now watching the control that has already happened, documenting, and if there are any violations to people who are already using internet, with this internet we shall be going to court because it's a violation of their rights It's a disruption of people who are engaged in e-commerce and the digital economy. It's a violation of a range